24 minutes past the hour. There's a big trial about to get underway in New York, the end of a journey which began in Mexico for Joaquin Guzman, known as El Chapo. He's facing charges. He trafficked tons of cocaine and ruled over a criminal empire as the head of the Sinaloa drugs cartel. He says not guilty. He does face life in prison if convicted. The trial in Brooklyn is expected to last up to 4 months. Heavy security after the extradition in 2016, the arrest and then the extradition from Mexico. The BBC's Tawfik reports on the rise and fall of El Chapo from humble beginnings to one of the most influential people in Mexico.
Songs have been dedicated to him. Even Hollywood stories and documentaries have been written to explore his rise from a humble farmer to the world's most notorious drug lord. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman became almost a mythical figure who was both reviled and revered in Mexico.
We noticed certain parallels to the infamous Colombian narco-trafficker Pablo Escobar of the Medellin cartel.
Peter Vincent is a former Justice Department official who spent years in Colombia watching Guzman consolidate power.
He was able to rule through a ruthless mixture of bribery, of assassinations, as well as by winning over the hearts and minds of the folks living in abject poverty, by paying for schooling for children, by building soccer fields and low-income apartments. So if he wasn't able to scare people in order to keep him hidden away, he was able to essentially co-opt them to protect him.
His luck ran out in January of 2016 following this dramatic raid. Hunted for decades, until this point, he was always one step ahead of authorities. Peter Vincent says it was the drug lord's own mistakes that led to his arrest.
He ultimately was done in by his own arrogance, and because he had escaped from two of Mexico's most secure prisons in 2001 and 2015, I think he felt like he was almost untouchable. He started to believe the stories that he was this mythical creature, a sort of modern-day perverted Robin Hood, if you will, and got sloppy.
We have breaking news tonight. The infamous drug lord known as El Chapo is in the air, headed to the United States to face criminal charges.
His extradition to the United States from Mexico soon after set the stage for what is sure to be the biggest trial for narcotics crimes in U.S. history. Prosecutors accuse him of trafficking drugs such as cocaine and heroin worth $14 billion into the country as the leader of the Sinaloa cartel.
Security has been ramped up here in New York ahead of the trial. For example, the Brooklyn Bridge is shut every time that he is transferred from the maximum security prison in Lower Manhattan to the courthouse in Brooklyn, which has created gridlock. And the safety of jurors has also been an issue. They will remain anonymous and they will be escorted to and from court each day by armed U.S. Marshals.
Bueno, eso es una realidad.
This recorded interview that Guzman sent to actors Sean Penn and Kate DeCastillo before his capture will likely be used as evidence in his trial, alongside wiretaps, drug and weapon seizures, and testimony from rival cartel members.
No había otro camino.
In it, he acknowledges that drugs are destructive, but says where he grew up there wasn't and still isn't any other way to make a living.
Now, this isn't because of Chapo Guzman. He's been sitting in jail for how many years over the last 15?
Jeffrey Lichtman, one of his defense attorneys, plans to argue that his reputation doesn't match the reality.
He is the perfect scapegoat. That's all I will say. He is the perfect scapegoat. You'd think that he was the only drug dealer in Mexico, that he was the only leader. There are leaders of the Sinaloa cartel that are as big as him, bigger than him alleged to be. You don't even know their names.
What's your strategy going to be?
Well, we're going to show the jury that the slop that the government is bringing forth in the form of their witnesses is, frankly, the worst group of cooperators that has ever been produced, I would say, inside an American courtroom. The lying, the cheating, it's unfathomable what they've done, what they've gotten away with, what they will continue to get away with, because the prize is Chapo Guzman.
The federal trial in Brooklyn's district court is likely to last 4 months. If found guilty, El Chapo Guzman will spend the rest of his life in the United States at a maximum security prison.
How Shorty got sloppy, I suppose. That's the story told by Nada Tawfik. All charges denied, it has to be said, and the Brooklyn Bridge will be closed later today for the transport of alleged drug kingpin Joaquin